Hello children, welcome back. Today we are going to learn a very important topic, short story writing. A story writing is a work of fiction or imagination that is usually written in easily understandable grammatical structure with natural flow of speech. Story writing is meant to be read at a single sitting and therefore it should be as direct and brief as possible. A short story writing is a test of creativity and needs to be a story, not a dream, which is practically impossible in life. Use real life incidents in your story so that reader can connect himself with the happenings of the story. All incidents should appear like real life situation and it should not look like someone has woken up from the dream, and these things can never happen in real life. Selection of vocabulary should also be according to the theme. If you are writing a family drama, it will require the characters of mother, father, brothers, sisters, and selection of vocabulary will be as we use in our day-to-day conversation. But if we are writing a horror story, we have to use the words like scary, shivery, terrorize, panic, fear, fright, etc. and your character also will behave differently. The next and very important point is the selection of theme. If we are writing a family drama, where emotional setback can be taken as the main theme of the story. In a horror story, fictitious characters like ghosts, fairies can be used for scary and dreadful atmosphere. If you want to raise a social issue like poverty, child labor, you will create the atmosphere where your main character is the victim of circumstances. Select your title according to your theme. You can use phrases or proverbs as the title of the story, like all is well that ends well. Self-help is the best help. Honesty is the best policy. A blessing in disguise. These things can be used as the title of the story. Here, one picture is visible, and on seeing this picture, you can create story with various ideas or themes. You can describe it as the story of a boy going uphill for pilgrimage with his parents and grandparents. You can narrate it as a boy loving adventure sports going for rock climbing with his teammates. You can create the situation of a detective searching a crime scene to find evidence of crime. You can also present the story of a boy as a nature lover boy trying to send message for environment protection by keeping mountain clean and green with rich forest. Let's plan a good story. A good story should be brief and direct. Means a good story writing isn't about fanciful language. It's about conveying the message clearly or simply. Start your story with catchy first paragraph. Your beginning is where the reader decides whether to keep reading. Your beginning also sets the reader's expectations for the story's middle and ending. The middle is the part where the story starts to move towards climax. Here, you create complication that will lead to the end. End is the main conflict area, where conflict is resolved and tension falls quickly, and a good ending leaves readers satisfied. Let's learn the elements of the story. elements of the story are the three main pillars of story on which the whole building of a story stands. First is plot. Most stories have a sequence and purpose or the reason why the story is being told. Some stories have a moral or message. Others have usual ending or suspense. Some stories are adventurous, some are funny, and some are scary. We see a starting point that moves through different forces to an ending point. Next is characters. The story has people, animals, or any other creatures in it. To add a touch of reality, it is necessary to base them on real life. It is also important to think of special qualities or behavior patterns. Describe how your characters walk, how they talk, and their attitude towards life or a particular problem. Their dressing and behavior can create an interesting atmosphere in the story. Don't use your friend's name in the characters. Instead, use funny and specific qualities as names. Mostly 1 to 4 characters are enough to convey the message of the story. Next is setting. The background of the story is the setting. The story can happen in a forest or in a classroom. It is possible for the story to happen in a totally imaginary place like Toyland, Fairyland, etc. Again, you will need to detail the setting to make it more suitable to the plot and the character. The story moves at different speeds in different situations. The story may be told to any one of the characters or the combination of some characters. It is very important to have a good beginning and proper ending. Here are few important tips for creating a good story. In short stories, only one problem, topic, or idea should be raised. Mostly, stories are written in past tense, but if you are creating a fiction, you can use present or future tense as well. But keep always in mind that use of tense must be correct. All the events and incidents should revolve around the central character. Create an interesting plot so that you can avoid useless details, and your events should grow like a ladder step by step to keep the reader completely engaged with the happenings of the story. Climax should be clear and thrilling to generate the curiosity of the reader. Stick to the word limit when you are writing story for your exams. If necessary, have a moral for the story. Use proper punctuation marks. Use quotation marks for the dialogues of characters. In your exam, you may be given verbal inputs in the form of beginning of the story. For example, on that day in the morning when I opened my window, I saw. What did you see? And all the consequences you will create in your story. Ending line may be given as so they all returned to home happily. Who returned to home? Why they were so happy? These things you have to imagine in your story. Sometimes you may be given outlines of the story in the form of points, and you are asked to create your story including all the given points. For visual inputs, one or more pictures can be given, and you are asked to develop the story on the basis of things which are visible in the picture. Let's see few sample stories. Study the picture given. Taking hints from the picture, write a story in about it. 120 to 250 minutes. Ajay had gone with his friends on an expedition on the Himalayan ranges. They had trekked almost 30 kilometers. By now, they were all hungry and cold. Soon it would be dark, so they decided to pitch their tents and cook some food. Ajay volunteered to collect firewood and set out amongst thorny bushes to collect dried twigs. At one place, his foot slipped and he fell into a ravine. He came tumbling down about 2,000. So great was the fall that he felt dizzy and disoriented. He could not find his way back to the camp. The dog sitting near the ravine watched the whole incident and ran up to Ajay. The two walked up and down for 2 days. After walking for several hours, Ajay decided to sit under a tree to take rest. The dog sat next to him, brushing closely to his body to keep him warm. The two became friends. Ajay called him Hunter. The next day, Hunter discovered a small stream of clear water flowing down the sides of a hill. He and Ajay drank some cold water to quench their thirst. Meanwhile, when the boys at the camp noticed Ajay was missing, they reported the matter to the base camp, which sent out 2 patrollers on horseback to look for him. It was only on the third day that they spotted a boy with a dog and knew it was Ajay. Ajay was weak with hunger and exhaustion, but he said he was lucky to have found a dog that kept him warm at nights. Title of the story is Rescue of a Lost Boy. Don't forget to add a catchy title to your story. Let's see one more story which is based on the verbal clues. Question is, develop story from the given outline. Remember to give a moral of the story at the end. Here are the outlines. An old lady becomes blind, calls in a doctor, agrees to pay large fees if cured. Doctor comes daily, starts stealing one piece of furniture daily, delays the cure, at last cures her, demands his fees. Lady refuses to pay, saying cure is not complete. Doctor objects. Lady says sight not restored as she cannot see all her furniture. More. Let's see the story. Title of the story is The Missing Furniture. There was once an old lady. She meets with an accident and loses her eyesight. She becomes very upset and calls in the most qualified surgeon in town to treat her. She promises to pay a large amount of fees to the surgeon if he is able to restore her eyesight. The surgeon visits the old lady every day and gives her some medicines. He takes advantage of the fact that she is blind and can't see anything. He starts stealing pieces of expensive furniture from the house. He takes away one piece every day. For this purpose, he delays the cure. When he takes away all the furniture from the house, he restores the eyesight of the lady. When he asks for the fees, the old lady refuses to pay him. She says that her eyesight is not yet fully restored. The surgeon disagrees. Lady plainly replies that she is not able to see the furniture in the house, which means that her eyesight has not been restored. The doctor feels ashamed and quietly leaves the house. Moral of the story is God watches our every action. Thank you.